President of the function, Dr. Anju N. Pillai, Managing Director of the Knowledge City, Dr. A.P. Abdul Hakim Azari, Executive Director, Dr. C. Abdul Samad, Mr. Samir Safaki, Administrative Officer, Mr. Rahuf, Academic Coordinator, Mrs. Shruti, Assistant Professor, and my friends. I'm extremely happy to be a part of this confluence of law students. In fact, I committed to come here about a month ago. It was subsequently, in fact, only 2 or 3 days before, that High Court decided to have a sitting on this day because 9th is being declared. High Court has to complete the working days in a year. So we decided to have a sitting today. So I told my chief, see, I have a commitment, and I am going to address students of Markaz Law College. That is how I am here. I had brief talks with Dr. Abdul Hakim Ansari and your principal and Dr. Samad, and I am told that Markaz Law College is aiming to create lawyers who has social commitment in their life. Friends, legal profession came to India, or today's legal profession came to India only after the Britishers ruled us, you know that. The Europeans consider lawyers as money minting professionals. A lawyer with a brief can earn more than any businessman. That is the concept there. But in India, we always had a different concept about legal profession, and the Indian concept is that lawyers are the natural leaders of the society. സമൂഹത്തിൻ്റെ സ്വാഭാവിക നേതാക്കന്മാരാണ് അഭിഭാഷകർ. Lawyers are the natural leaders of the society. When that slogan or that concept is expressed, it's not that it is just to boost the lawyers. It's a reality. Take the case of our independence struggle. If you take the case of independence struggle, you will find Motilal Nehru, Balagangadhar Tilak, Sardar Patel. Most of the leaders in the freedom struggles were lawyers. They didn't go for a money minting profession. Along with the profession, Dr. Ambedkar, along with the profession, they served the society, and society took them as their leaders. Times have changed, but even today I will say, society look at lawyers with respect. The society, even today, have faith in our legal profession and lawyers. Look at, go to the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. In the last Lok Sabha, if you take the members of the Lok Sabha as a profession, number 1 place was for lawyers. Nearly 72 lawyers or law graduates there in the Lok Sabha last time. I don't have the details of current Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha together had more than 138 law graduates or legal professions. What does it show? Take the case of our state government. Take the number of members, ministers. A good chunk of them are lawyers. Who is the opposition leader? Opposition leader was a renowned lawyer of the High Court of Kerala. Go to any panchayat, go to any municipality, you will find that 3 or 4 lawyers will be there as members. As a profession, lawyers stand first when public elect. Go to any cooperative society, there will be 3 or 4 lawyers in the director board. Go to any club, any Vayanashala, any reading room, you will find the representation of the lawyers. That is why I am telling you, even today, people look at lawyers with respect, and they look at lawyers to guide them. That is the natural role of the lawyers. You are becoming a lawyer not to make money. You may be making money, you should make money. But inside you, you should feel that my duty is to guide the society. That should be the mission of a lawyer. And I am so happy that when I came to Markaz Law College keeps this in mind and want to make you the future leaders of the society. My friend sitting in front of me today will be the future leaders of the bar and the future leaders of the society. Keep it in mind. Keep it in mind. Now we are on the conclusion ceremony of our valedictory session of the Constitution celebration, 76th year of Constitution. Constitution, India's Constitution is, as the principal said, is considered as the finest constitution in the world and the biggest constitution in the world. And I will say the most successful constitution in the world. Most successful because with this constitution, India, which was considered as a third world in 1947, has become the fourth major economic power in 2025, growing again, going to be the third. So it is this constitution which brought India from the position of third world to the fourth most economic power in the world. And to anybody who has read, any student, if you are asking, what is the philosophy of our constitution? What is the philosophy of our constitution? What are the constitutional morals? What are the values of our constitution? Friends, if you go through these 470 articles and schedules of the constitution, you will find it difficult to deduce what are the morals, what are the philosophy of the constitution, because constitution it is so vast. It has substantive provisions like conferring you fundamental rights in the part 3. There are directive principles as to how the government should legislate, in which way the government should go. It provides for legislative assemblies, it provides for constitution, how the president is elected, how vice president is elected, how speaker is elected, how the council of ministers should function, whom should the president and governor invite to form a government. It goes again, it states about Supreme Court, High Court. It doesn't end there, it speaks about the executive. No, it does not end there. It goes on to define the Election Commission of India, then Union Public Service Commission. Even it goes to the extent of defining the rights of government servants in Article 309, 310, 311 and all. What are the rights of government servants? An ordinary peon or an LD clerk of a government servant. What is his power? So it is so vast that it is difficult to deduce a philosophy from this constitution, because mostly it is procedural also. But then I will say it is very simple. It's very easy to find out the philosophy of the constitution. Only thing is that you should read the preamble. The preamble to the constitution gives the philosophy of India. We, the people of India, solemnly resolve to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure among all justice, liberty, and equality, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and unity and integrity of the nation. Do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this constitution. This is our philosophy. This is the constitutional philosophy. Justice, I need not explain. Along with that, liberty, human liberty is most important. Go to any philosophies, any political ideologies, human liberty is most important. Then equality. Equality is important. In fact, the concept of liberty and equality, it is conflicting, I am telling you. Because if one has abundance of liberty, it will naturally affect the equality. It will be affecting somebody else. So your liberty is likely to unsettle the equality. So how do you take it together? Therefore, the fourth ingredient comes: fraternity. That is the importance of fraternity. If you feel that we are all a fraternity, we are all brothers and sisters, then we can balance our liberty along with the equality. You will be having equality, you will be having liberty to write in examinations, PSC and examinations, to contest in elections and all that. But where the equality is there, we will be having a reservation. Because we are a fraternity. We know that some sections of our society had suffered for long. We know that some sections of our societies are minorities, religious, linguistic minorities. They have to be brought up. That is the importance of that fraternity feeling. So with the feeling of fraternity, if we balance, we can very well balance the equality, justice, liberty and equality. That is what we have been, the Constitution of India have been doing for the last 70 years, 75 years. And we have done well, we have achieved much in every walk of life, every field of life as a nation. Every Indian can be proud of a citizen. This is as an introduction, I will tell you this. Then, when someone asks about the philosophy of a constitution, mostly people think of economic philosophies like capitalism, socialism, Marxism, even Gandhism, the philosophy. What is the economic philosophy of our constitution? Generally there is an accepted principle that when you frame a constitution, you should not induct political or other philosophies in the constitution. Because in the constitution, if you say that we should follow this philosophy, tomorrow that philosophy may be irrelevant. Tomorrow's people may require that this is not the philosophy we should follow. Therefore, don't that freedom of the people of India or the people of a country, the freedom of the government, the freedom of the legislature, executive, will be curtailed when you induct a political philosophy in a constitution. That is the general idea. But we have introduced the concept of socialism in the constitution. Constitution, as on date, everybody will welcome socialism. Socialism is, I don't think there can be any objection to the word socialism. There cannot be an objection because socialism doesn't have a fixed definition. If you look at the Marxian setup of or meaning of extreme left meaning of socialism, then socialism is a state control. Every property, material resources of any country will be governed by the state. State is the owner of everything. State will give you work, state will give you land to cultivate, but the land doesn't belong to you, land belongs to state. This is the extreme left concept of socialism. We have written in our constitution that we are a socialist country even before introduction of socialism in our constitutional preamble, which was in the year 1976 or 97. Socialism was there even otherwise in the constitution. In the directive principles of state policy, in the directive principles there is a provision that the state shall see that material resources of the nation are not accumulated in the hands of a few. There is a mandate in the directive principles that material resources of the nation should be distributed for public good. That is the basic of a socialist concept. So even before adding the word socialism in the preamble, that socialistic approach was there. But what we followed after the independence as a socialist country was what we generally described as a Nehruvian socialism. That is how in India we describe Nehruvian socialism. Nehruvian socialism contemplated that the important industries of the country should be under the state control. Anything connected with sovereignty of the country, of the state, should be controlled by the government. That is how first all defense areas, defense production in India was under state control. Banks became bank nationalization also, and then that it is to be brought into the under the state control. So this is other areas you can have private investment. That was what is called, that is what we followed for a long time. But then in changing times, we will have to change our concept. And how did India for the last 75 years, the legislature as well as the judiciary tackled with the situations of a changing society? It's very, very, very interesting. You should, I think of that. In the areas of legislations, I will say there is a marked difference prior to globalization, that is 1990 to 93, and after globalization. Look at our legislatures. When India became independent, we were a poor country, as I said, a third world, underdeveloped country. So we had to protect, we had to pamper, we had to bring up the downtrodden people, and all legislations were intended for that purpose. Take the pre 1990 or immediate post 1947 legislations. We brought up Industrial Disputes Act 1947 to protect the interest of the laborers. We brought up Minimum Wages Act. We brought up Maternity Benefits Act. There were land reforms laws. There were tenancy laws primarily intended to protect the tenants. There were so many legislations which were aimed at protecting the downtrodden and to bring forth a semblance in the society. All legislations, populist legislations. Initially, when the legislature was pro-socialist, the courts had a different view. Initially, in the initial years, the court felt that it is the principles of liberty and freedom of an individual which should be protected. Court said, see, if you are taking away the property of an individual, he may be a rich man or he may be a zamindar, but he has a right. How can you simply take away his property? When zamindari abolition legislations came in Bihar first, the Patna High Court said, no, you cannot take their property like that. At that point of time, right to hold property was a fundamental right. The court initially took the view that no, this cannot be. Constitution has come. They have a right to hold the property. You have to protect the property. This was the attitude. Then one Kameshwar Singh filed a case. That case is known as Kameshwar Singh versus State of Bihar. It said it was against Zamindari Acts. But then it went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court also held that you cannot take away the property. But then later, even before an elected Lok Sabha came, mind you, even before an elected Lok Sabha came, an amendment was made to the Constitution. First amendment to the Constitution was even before an elected king. Then the legislature brought a ninth schedule. You put some law into that schedule so that the court will not pass these type of judgments. Because the judgment in Kameshwar Singh was against the political will, political decision. How can we, when we make a legislation, an elected government, an elected legislature brings a legislation, these people, these judges sitting there are simply unsettling it. They thought, no, this cannot be permitted. We have to control the judiciary. So they made a schedule and said, whatever laws we are putting in this schedule, it should not be touched. There is no judicial review. See the conflict there. And a schedule was constituted, all important laws which the government felt that these laws should not be tinkled with. All those legislations were put in the ninth schedule. But then when the days passed, The judiciary perhaps came to know the pulse of the nation, the pulse of the public opinion, and the factors which prompted the legislature to make this legislation. And gradually, the judiciary also adopted a pro-socialist approach. Judgments came. Bangalore water supply case, 1976, 76 or 77. Bangalore water supply came. We have to protect the right of the laborers, working class. Supreme Court said, defined what is industry. Supreme Court defined what is workman. And mind you, even temple employees, hospital employees, doctors, everybody became within the definition of a industry and workman. See the wide meaning given to the word workman and all that. Temple or a church, it may be a spiritual center. Supreme Court said that's a spiritual center, all right. Those who conduct puja may not be workmen, but other people working there who are washing the utensils in the church or a mosque or a temple, the clerks in the temple, they are all, what spirituality they are doing their work. They should have a right. They were declared as workmen. See, when the judiciary also gradually started to take the socialistic approach. In fact, I must say judiciary became more loyal than the legislature as far as socialist concept is concerned. That interpretation given by the Supreme Court and the High Courts were more in tune with the opinion of the legislature as well as public opinion. Courts became, I will say, if I can say, I don't know as a judge whether I can say, but courts also became left-leaning. That was at a point of time when that was necessary. But then India progressed. Poverty came down heavily. 18% was the literacy of India when we got independence in 1947, 18%. It became 75% now. 75% literacy means it is almost the world average. 140 crores people, 75% literary. We came to at that level. When you reach that level, the next thing is that you have to economically progress. In 90s, we signed the WTO Pact, GATT Udambadi. We opened our nation for trade, all nations. So we also became part of WTO. Then we had to make advantage of that WTO provisions. That was the requirement of the society. Most people, I still remember in 90s, most of the political parties and ideologies opposed globalization. They said globalization, this is a brainwork of the West. This we should not accept and all that. I am not commenting on that. It is, I think, it's a framework of the Europeans. The Europeans only brought it. But it became a reality, rightly or wrongly, nations agreed to it. Now that is collapsed. WTO concept has gone now. That level playing ground, what our American president is doing, India 200% tariff, Pakistan 50% tariff, Russia 80% tariff, whatever comes he says. Globalization, that level playing, that area is gone. But at that point of time, to take advantage of this economic reality, our legislators started to frame laws which are basically against the concept of socialism. After 1993-94, when Mr. Narasimha Rao was the Prime Minister, then came, you should watch at the legislations came thereafter. Compare it with the pre-90 legislation. Special Economic Zone Act 2005. Special Economic Zone Act 2005. That was one of the grave legislation that came. It permitted to taking over of land of the public, of the farmers, for the purpose of industrial development, to stimulate the export-oriented industries in Kerala. That act came. Many legislations that were Foreign Exchange Management Act that came. Then take the case of surfacing. Securitization Act. It gives power to the bank just to take over their mortgage property without going to court. A bank can take over property without going to court. Such a drastic legislation. But our legislature felt that it is necessary in the changing world, because if you want investment to come to India, the foreign powers didn't like the litigation system in India, which takes 20 years, 30 years. To attract foreign investment, they should be banks who are investing. They should be given a quick relief. SARFAESI Act came. There are allegations of misuse of SARFAESI Act, but then allegations of misuse of acts are there in respect of all acts. Even POCSO, family courts, everything is misused. This is also, to some extent, it may be misused, but it came. These laws were more industry specific or capital. I will say it's a sort of capitalism, pro-capitalism. You can describe like that. These legislations came. Then the foreign investments, foreign powers who wanted to invest in India, they said, see, your litigation system is unacceptable to us. With this litigation, with your court like this, we cannot do business with you. We wanted the foreign investment. We made the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, the latest legislation. If you have gone through that Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, it is described as a watershed legislation in India by the Supreme Court. Supreme Court say it's a watershed legislation. What is this watershed legislation? Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code made it came with a stark difference from the earlier legislations. Under the IBC, if a litigation is started, then winding up, previously it was under the Companies Act, it came, the control of the industry will be thereafter in the hands of creditors committee. There is an insolvency resolution professional appointed under the IBC who took the place of liquidators in the other Companies Act. Now it is insolvency resolution professional. But it is this insolvency resolution professional have to take decision in consultation with creditors committee. And who are the creditors? Who financed the industry. So the banks, they will decide whether to sustain this industry, whether to revive this industry, whether to sell this industry. Creditors who invested money had a big say in a court proceedings. So what I am telling you, I am not saying, it may be against the socialist concept, but when time changes, when your economy has to progress, our legislations, interpretations even by Supreme Court, changed in tune with the reality of the time. Latest labor code, 4 labor codes have been now notified. Think, it is very far away from the Industrial Disputes Act. It made the ease to do business. That's what you call. You need not form so many. You need not file so many returns and all. File 1 returns over. For growth of industry, for growth of business, ease to do business had to come, and the government enacted these labor codes. So what I'm telling is that our Constitution of India, though it is a very strong constitution, it has the flexibility to make legislation in tune with the changing times. It is that flexibility of the Indian Constitution, which and the timely interpretation of the constitutional provisions by the Honorable Supreme Court and the High Courts, that made our progress, India's progress from 1947 to 2025 possible. It is with this constitution that an underdeveloped underdog country in 1947, which the European then said that this country is going to collapse anytime, that country has become the 4th largest economic power. We are still going. It is estimated that by 2030, we will be number 3 in the world. And inshallah, if possible, India may become number 1 also by 2050 and so. So let us keep this in mind. Keep this in mind that it is this constitution which brought us here. It is this constitution which permitted you to sit there and me to stand here. It is this constitution which gave us the freedom, justice, liberty, equality, everything. Uphold the constitutional principles as defined in the Constitution of India. I am told that you are taking legal literacy classes among the general public also as a part of your legal aid. Give the message of our constitution to the general public. All the best. I would like to thank you, all of you. Thank you, the management of this call, for giving me an opportunity to address, as I said, future leaders of the society. Thank you.